What's up, everybody? All right, we're going to talk about stretching. There's a lot happening there. I may do a follow-up video and dive a little bit deeper into this and kind of like explore a little bit more. But there's a couple issues. One main one is sort of setting our sights a little bit too far in the beginning. And what I mean by that is if we have something like a shuffle, you know, where we sort of have this 5-7, like you can see my hand, that 5-7 generally lines up to where my hand wants to be. It's not too much of a stretch, but man, stretching that pinky up to that 9 can be really, really difficult. You know, if that tends to be our goal, or if that's sort of like this introduction to stretching, that's going to be a little bit too difficult to get to. So we want to work up to it. Now, when we're practicing, we're spending so much time pressing in, right? Pressing into the strings. What does happen naturally over time that we don't work at, that we can get this down a lot quicker if we sort of focus in on it, is that we're sort of doing two motions. We're pressing into the strings, but we are spreading out a little bit. We are stretching out, even on that 5-7. You know, and this is an issue where, like, you know, for a beginner student, once we get into those power chords, that it will sort of be like this. You know, like that 5 might be good placement, but that 7's like a little bit lacking because that's where the fingers want to naturally fall. So we do have to get used to sort of spreading out. One thing that helps is, and I know this sounds crazy, I actually don't have anything, I don't have a rubber band here with with all my bracelets that I have on. I don't have any rubber bands, but if you go out and get like a pack of rubber bands, you can get like those really thin ones and wrap it around twice, or like just like the smaller ones, and honestly just kind of putting it in and practice and strengthen stretching out that way, and then do it with these two, right? Then do it with these two, and then start mixing it up, first and third, you know, and then second and fourth, right? Just to get all those, so you're not always stretching off of the finger that precedes it. That is honestly really going to help. I mean, that is one little exercise. That was the same with the exercise of putting the rubber band down and practicing out this way, which will also help because there is a stretch there. But that motion is something that we don't strengthen much. And that motion we do use a lot, like being able to control it and lifting off the strings just enough, really quickly, but just enough to get them out of the way so they're not always popping up here. And moving them quickly, right? Getting those fingers off the strings quickly for the next note, if sort of speed and accuracy is something that you're really working on. So this is the same idea. That's going to strengthen the hand to move out. Now, all we really need to do from here is let's move up to let's say the 12th fret, okay? And if we were going to do, you know, that exercise, right, our 1, 2, 3, 4, you don't even, I mean, this would be like after a warm-up. Definitely, actually, think about it, definitely after a warm-up, because you don't want to be like overextending anything without like your hand being warmed up and ready. But if we're going to do that 1, 2, 3, 4 exercise, you don't necessarily need to do all 6 strings, but let's just do one finger at a time, space-wise. So if we have 1, 2, 3, and then 4, we'll skip a fret. Now we're going to do it up here at the 12th fret because the frets are nice and small. Okay? And as long as you can do it comfortably, you don't have to go that fast, right? This is definitely not about speed right now. It's just about getting that pinky comfortable and operating out here rather than here, and then sort of having to force it out. If you watch, it's sort of out and ready. You know, my hand is sort of, my brain is sort of communicating to my hand that pinky always needs to be out that way. Now, do the same idea. We're going to do 1, 2, and then the third finger is going to be a split. This is going to be the hardest one. Right? Same idea. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the split is between the first finger and the second finger. That is really going to help because that's going to, with sort of strengthening with those rubber bands, that's going to make it a little bit easier to operate in both directions, out and pressing down, you know, if you're sort of doing that exercise and being able to stretch out like that. Now, if we take something that's a little bit more practical with this, which was that shuffle idea, that that could be overshooting, let's just move that up right now. And let's just see what happens if we can do 12 on the top string, 14 on the 5th string, and then you're gonna stretch up to 16 on the 5th string. And just seeing if that pinky can operate up and down while staying stretched out. It's just like a great check. But that is going to be so beneficial for chord movement, even for these chords. You know, when you're playing your open chords, your fingers aren't always scrunched in. That's a little scrunched in. That's a little bit more spread out. Bar chords, so that when you're playing your bar chords and you got that first finger down here, these fingers aren't too tucked in, right? Because they can stretch out. So it is a very beneficial thing. It's also one of those movements and one of those situations that you get used to naturally over the course of however many, hundreds of hours you spend practicing. But something that we can focus on and sort of get that moving and strengthened up in a much quicker manner by sort of getting down to the details. So hope that helps, and I will see you guys soon.